My friend Jack was just here. Told me that I will become a monster in 2 days.
Your dead friend, Jack.
Yes.
Welcome all to CinemaSplendor, and today we are talking about horror.
Yeah, let's get into some honorable mentions. So Planet Terror is like a horror comedy zombie movie, but it's just so epic and badass. The action is sick. There's like a slasher element. It's just so funny. Like a lot of the times they mix it with the horror because there's like one of the main characters is a doctor and he's just like cracking jokes about like the patients that are coming in turning into zombies, and it's just so funny. Like I highly recommend that to anyone who hasn't seen it.
Never seen it.
Dude, yeah, definitely watch it.
I have no leg!
Made you something.
Get Out is maybe my favorite theater experience of all time because like people were getting
Really?
so into the final act, like yelling like no, and like the friend
Oh,
pulls up
man.
at the end, they're like cheering and stuff like that.
Dude,
and
and okay, I just want to say the alternate ending is better. But that's all.
really? Okay, I'll have to check that
Yes.
out. And then it's also very thrilling, and I think the concept is potent still to this day. I think like people can get a lot from that movie, from the like little micro aggression racism. Finally, The Shining, specifically the ending, filled me with just so much dread. And like I think this is the like at the time I saw this movie that he types on the typewriter the whole time.
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
When that like reveal when Shelley Duvall's character reads all the pages on the typewriter and it's just that over and over and over again. This is
love
after
that.
they've been there for months and she thought he was working on his book for months. And it's like, bro, that's all that he's done this whole time. Like he is so much further gone than we even thought. That like mic drop moment just killed me. You've got the twins, you've got the blood elevator, you got
him freezing to death at the end. That scared the hell out of me, the whole chase.
That's tight. Yeah, the chase is crazy.
And the picture frame scares me too. It
I
still
love
scares
the
me a
picture
little bit.
frame. And then the old lady in the bathtub too. That sequence is awesome.
I don't think that's true. I think you have some very definite ideas about what should be done with Danny, and I'd like to know what they are.
Those are some great choices, first of all.
Thank you.
Is that it? That's the honorable mention?
Yeah, those are my 3.
10 out of 10. Or 3 out of 3.
It's got no detail, no character. It's unformed.
All of a sudden, they're growing like parasites. Is it contagious? People are being duplicated.
How do you know my name? I didn't tell you my name.
So I got a few. I'm just going to fly through them. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I'm picking this because this is actually a pretty old movie. No, not the 50s one. I like 1979. It's got really cool effects, and the ending will leave you with dread.
Matthew? Matthew?
Michael Keaton is Beetlejuice.
I'm the ghost with the most, babe.
We're going to move right along to Beetlejuice. This is a
Hey.
80s film. Yeah, I love Beetlejuice. It's just not really that scary. Like,
True.
nothing about it really terrified me, but it is a horror movie. So I'm like, I'm going to give it a shout out. It's pretty big right now, too. The Host did not make my list, but this is a Korean film. It's a monster film, and Chad and I actually watched it for the first time together. I want to say like 4 years ago now. I just remember the first time where the main character is in a crowd. They look left, don't see nothing. They look right, and they see the monster running towards them in the distance. I'm like, that's messed up.
If it's in a word or it's in a look, you can't get rid of the Babadook.
And finally, my last honorable mention. My dad hates this movie. A lot of people I know don't think it's that scary. The Babadook. I think it's a really well-written film. I always thought it had pretty good scares. It didn't really keep me up at night so much as it was just really well-crafted. You see characters float in and out of scenes, like with interesting lighting, with interesting cues, montages, and I think it's doing something really special. So The Babadook by Jennifer Kent, please check it out. I had to do that really quick because I knew I could keep talking about those movies forever.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to start? Do you want to flip a coin?
Yeah, let's flip a coin.
Okay, I'll find a coin. Heads or tails?
Tails.
Also, can you guess which state?
Michigan?
No, it's Nevada.
That's a cool
It
one.
is. It is heads. So I'm gonna go
What does
first.
it even mean? Okay, okay.
Number 10 is Get Out. Get
Hey,
Out.
okay.
That's right. So you mentioned it, honorable mentions. Jordan Peele really ripped onto the scene, straight up. His first fully directed movie by himself, and he made a masterpiece. People still know about, like, it's not The Upside Down. That's from Stranger Things.
Oh,
It's
The Sunken Place.
The Sunken Place.
Yeah, The
That
Sunken Place took the zeitgeist by storm.
horrifying sequence. The idea that other people can control your body and get inside it, like, it's like the whole mind control thing to another level. It's like body control, the movie.
True.
And I want to talk about the alternate ending, since you didn't know about this, which I'm a little surprised about. At the end of the movie, I believe our main character is strangling what's her face. I don't remember her name. She's like
his
the
girlfriend, ex-girlfriend.
cop cars show up. It's like flashing lights, and he puts his hands up and he gets arrested and taken to jail. And the last scene is his buddy visiting him in prison, and he's like, "They don't believe me. They don't believe me." Basically,
That's crazy.
would have been the most insane ending ever, and that's the only reason it's like this low, is because I'm like, that is the most missed opportunity. But you can still watch it with that ending if you have it on Blu-ray, which I do.
That's
and
crazy.
I have.
That completely changes the ending, and I feel like it fits like the tone and the theme of the movie, if not better. But I do like the triumphant rescue as well. Yeah, people would have left the theater defeated, whereas I feel like they got to leave with a win.
And Get Out was such a huge movie. Like, I think it's still one of the top 10 return on investment movies from budget to final gross. So,
Not surprised.
Jordan Peele's doing some awesome. I don't think he's done anything better than this yet. But Nope is pretty sick too.
I agree.
Tell me when you found it.
Number 10, Barbarian. So this is the newest film on my list. It came out in 2022. And this film is in, the way I see it, 3 distinct acts. Where the first act is like the whole Airbnb mix-up that you see in the trailer, where the Airbnb is double booked and you like don't know who to trust, because it's, what's his name, Bill Skarsgård, who has like always played
He's
a
always
shady
a villain.
character. Yeah, exactly. And so you're like, okay, is the movie like trying to trick me into trusting him, or is it trying to like tricking me into trusting him, you know? And there's like this great tension for the whole first act where you don't know who to trust and you're wondering like, who is the barbarian? And like that's something that you constantly wonder the entire movie.
I hated going through those bedrooms that were all like with the cameras, and there's like the stains everywhere. That made me feel so creepy in the theater.
Yeah, those are disgusting. And then
I literally had it in my head that he was gonna be involved.
Yeah. And then it flips where like he goes deeper into the tunnel and then he's like calling for her to come help him. And then that's when you have the big reveal of the monster.
That really blew my mind.
Dude, my jaw literally dropped for like 20 seconds. And then it just hard cuts to Justin Long, I think.
Ricky Ticky Tavi, rack the mongoose.
And the organizations ain't really organized.
The second act then is maybe my favorite dramatic irony of all time in any movie ever. Because
oh, he's such a clueless bitch. I hate him.
And yeah, he's a horrible character, or like horrible person. And so you're rooting on his downfall, and you just see him like discovering the basement, and he's like, oh my god, I can add this to the square footage on the listing. And then the third act is just like straight action, straight like monster mayhem, and it's just juicy. Then the third kind of combines the two. There's like the tension and the horror, but there is still comedy.
I just want to say I love this movie. I have talked about this on the channel before. I think it was pretty high up on my top 10 of 2022. Yeah, I almost put it on this list too.
Hey.
I also just want to say this movie takes place like what 11 miles from my house,
True.
and it's
Yeah.
supposed to be literally a slum.
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
And I didn't even mention how terrifying this setting is, because she's there at night, but then when she sees it during the day, her house is like the only occupied house on the whole block.
Yes, we have to come this way. Someone's there. I'm not going back. If we suddenly fall, should I scream out?
Number 9.
No way.
A girl walks home alone at night. This is a 2009 movie about a young woman who wears a cloak, basically wandering the streets at night. She's looking for potential partners, possibly victims. My whole goal here is to just not give away big plot points. It's understated. It is not a jump scare movie in the sense that I don't know if I was ever really terrified. I was just more held in suspense at the horror of possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
It plays like an indie film. It's very light. It's actually more of a romance movie, which I appreciate. I like blending genres, which you're going to see. There's a lot of genre blending going on here. My favorite part is when our main character kills a pimp.
Yeah, I love this movie. You will hear more
I'm so
on that
glad you've
later.
seen it.
Oh yeah.
So you're going to be all stonewalling me now? You're not.
Oh, yeah.
We're not going to talk about it yet.
Yeah. Number 9, we're taking it back to Detroit, I'm pretty sure. It Follows.
I love this movie.
So this is a supernatural psychological horror movie, and this movie created this constant sense of dread because the main character is being literally constantly followed at all times, and she never really knows when or who or where it's gonna appear. There's a scene where she's literally like sitting in class and sees like somebody walking towards her from outside, and she like gets up and like runs out of class. And then like, I mean, the arrival of a tall man, I hope. One of the...
Oh yeah, that was a creepy scene in the bedroom.
Yeah, the way the movie is like extremely raw and realistic and grounded in reality, despite the supernatural aspect. Like it just felt real and felt like it could happen, and like I felt like I was right there with the main characters going through this and like struggling to avoid this like never-ending threat.
It's never ending. It's like it's always on the screen. You're always afraid that someone's gonna walk up and just like, that's a good choice, man.
And I feel like I have to mention that this has influenced other movies, most notably Smile, and
which was also a banger. I love Smile.
I think that's a great movie too, but I think that this movie does it better. Yeah.
Also, shout out to these Detroit horror movies. I don't know if there's other young filmmakers out there, but come to Detroit. It's really cheap. Everything here is scary. Don't Breathe is also a Detroit film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's all in Detroit, man. I swear. That's a good one. That's a good choice, Chad.
Thank you.
I wish I did that.
Somebody had to talk about it.
No, it's me.
Yara?
Yeah.
Don't open the door.
Well, okay, number 8. Let's go to Sweden for Let the Right One In.
Hey.
You seen this one?
I have not, but I've heard so many people recommend it.
Luckily for you, there's not much that I can spoil in this movie. Like, it's a lot like A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night because it's very simple. It feels like at times it can be like misread as another genre movie because it's a little quieter. It's not super scary. It's more the suspense of situations that like set you up. There is a distinct horror element. Honestly, some of the scenes in this movie, especially at the end, it's a very famous one. It stands out in horror history. It's probably one of the best foreign horror movies of all time. The child actors, very good. Like, I don't speak Swedish, but like I can read faces, and they were acting all over the place.
So specifically the Swedish
weird.
version, because isn't there an American remake of it?
There is. It's called Let Me In. Supposedly is pretty good. I have never seen it. I just don't feel the need to, which is kind of a stupid thing to say, but I just really like this movie.
Oh, that's valid.
Okay, but that's kind of stupid for me to say too, because there's a movie called Infernal Affairs, and it's really good. It's about 2 cops that are moles in each other's departments, and they remade it, and it was The Departed, and they're both great. So.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes the remake's better, but sometimes they just remake it just to appeal to an American audience.
The Departed's actually cool because they changed a lot of the setting. obviously the original movie was not set in Boston, so they had to, yeah, you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
yeah, Let the Right One In, I think, is a very beautiful, quiet film. It tells you if you ever are in the woods and you see someone hanging upside down, I swear, just walk the other way, Chad. Just walk the other way.
If I concentrate hard enough, I can move things.
My number 8, we're taking it back to 1976 with Carrie. So
Never seen this one. Only
this
remake.
movie goes crazy. It's a supernatural horror, and like everybody knows the prom scene. And like I'm pretty sure I had watched the prom scene before I saw the movie, and so I kind of thought like, oh, whatever, that's not that scary. But when you watch the movie, the prom scene is not even the climax. The prom scene, it's epic and it's super satisfying because it's sweet revenge for the protagonist Carrie, because she's just been like bullied and beaten down because her mom's like overprotective, so she like literally doesn't even know what a period is and doesn't know what sex is and all this stuff. So all the kids at school are just like bullying the crap out of her. Even her prom date like turns against her. Shout out to teen John Travolta. And
oh, that's
so, like,
insane. He's in this movie.
Yeah, dude. So she gets the pig's blood dumped on her on stage, and then she just goes sicko mode and starts killing like everybody in sight. Hose is going crazy, cars going crazy, just like everything. Just like ruining everyone else's night. That's not even the climax, like I said. She goes back home, and dude, if you thought Carrie went sicko mode, just wait till you see what her mom does when she gets back home. Legit one of the most haunting sequences in any movie. The religious imagery and just the execution of it. Like you thought this was over, like it's still going kind of thing. Yeah.
And Carrie, so I have seen the remake of Carrie, and I do remember loving the end of it. But that was with like Ansel Elgort and everything. But I know the original is the favorite, and I need to see it. Stephen King, man.
The GOAT. I don't even know if I've ever read a book by him. 500 plus pages, so it's hard to do.
Audiobooks are legit. I'm trying to find an audiobook for the original Jurassic Park because I just feel like listening to some of those scenes would be horrifying.
I agree.
Yeah.
You should get Libby. Do you have Libby?
I do have Libby. I love Libby. I got a few motivational or self-help books from my therapist. So
hey, nice.
We'll see if that makes it into the video. I want to put some older movies too. I want to be like, yeah, we don't just love movies from the 2010s.
And I mean, we saw them in theaters. Like we had that experience that can elevate a movie for us.
We're all sorry, Cassie. We're all sorry, Cassie.
Number 7. We're throwing it back to 1979. Ridley Scott directed Alien.
Hey.
It's a genre blender, definitely more of a science fiction horror. I recently gave it a rewatch for the first time in 10 years. One of the scariest experiences in the dark with surround sound, like in my basement with all the lights off.
That's awesome.
You just never know where that little freaking thing's gonna pop out. The setup on the planet was super cool with all the eggs. The chest burster, let's be real, that's like the most iconic scene maybe on this entire list.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. They spent a lot of money on that production design, or they spent a lot of time, because you look at that movie, I swear it looks like it could have been made today. Everything looks like it's like a Star Wars movie, but better. So really big shout out to Alien. Romulus was good, but let's stick with OG Alien.
Yeah, Romulus almost made the honorable mentions for me. Like over time, so Romulus could make it into my top 10 because that movie blew my freaking mind. And it's like the definitive Alien movie to me.
I mean, I would agree that it was really good. In my mind, I was like, it's a lot like the first Alien movie, but with more face huggers. Until the last 20 minutes.
Arrival of a tall alien baby.
It's like Prometheus Spider Boy. That was horrifying. But I like the first one more. I love this movie, and it's a classic, and I don't think I appreciate it enough. I used to go around saying Aliens was better, and I watched them both. Like, I was wrong. The first one's like way better than Aliens.
I have not seen Aliens yet, so jury's still out on that for me.
Keep in mind it's a different genre. It's more sci-fi than horror.
Okay, good to know.
More action adventure, I'd say. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'm going to try to cut it off here. Try to kill the the alien here, and I can't do a transition. Whatever. You can
I
go
got
with
you.
yours whenever you're ready.
What the hell is that?
Oh, we gotta get it off him.
We're taking it back to Detroit for the third time on my list. At number
way.
7, we've got Don't Breathe.
It was on here after
Yes,
I called it
sir.
out?
Yes, sir. Yeah, dude, I'm
That's
glad that you
awesome.
reminded me it's in Detroit because I kind of forgot. But, dude, this movie, so this is one where I saw it in theaters. I think to this day, this is the most that my heart has pounded throughout, like, the entire duration of a movie. Full of terrible surprises, and, like, as soon as you think the characters made it a moment where they can finally take a breath, either like the dog shows back up or like the old man shows back up or they discover something in the basement and it just keeps going and going and going.
That guy does not die.
Yeah, he's kind of like a blind Terminator, basically. Yeah, it's a psychological horror, but also a crime thriller, you could say. The kids initially pull up to try to rob a silly old man, but he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. And just the experience that I had watching this for the first time brings it this high up my list. And it's one that I've rewatched several times and like made a lot of my friends watch with me. Like a lot of people think it's silly, a silly concept, but they could not be more wrong. Like you just gotta see it to believe it.
No, this one I will say I didn't have it on the list. It's not on my list, but I already gave it a name drop because Detroit represent, and it's a good movie. It is a really good movie. No, it's really, dude, I love this movie. I thought it was
Don't watch
directed.
Don't Breathe 2 though. Do not watch Don't Breathe 2.
Yeah, okay, you told me not to.
I haven't
and
even seen it. I just know because it's a redemption story for the blind guy. He's the only returning cast member.
I remember what he did in the first one.
He crossed some lines in the first movie, yeah. Don't Breathe 2 and S. Darko are 2 sequels that need to be stricken from existence.
Dude, I feel like I only recently found out what S. Darko was, which is wild because, like, I feel like I wrote an entire video about Donnie Darko like 5 years ago, and I had no idea about S. Darko.
The fan base tries to protect other fans from learning about it.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Whole neighborhood is empty. This guy's the last man standing.
For number 6, we're gonna keep it in Detroit because I played you. Because my number 6 is It Follows.
Hey.
Like, I didn't want to get too hyped because I was like, I know I want to talk about it too. It starts off with the hookup culture, which is horrific on its own. We can talk about that, but it ends up with our main character basically tied up to a wheelchair in a garage, being told the stakes of the movie, the rules of the movie. We have the guy who's like Kevin from the Fred movie, holding her there. It's exhausting because at first there's a lot of energy to get away, to protect yourself, but as the movie goes on, these people start getting more broken down by this never-ending chase. And the whole thing's an allegory for an STD, which is horrifying. I don't know, this is genius. This is low-budget magic. This is also filmed in my backyard. I love the twists. I love it when they have the casual hookup that does not work out for the character's favor. This also has a very well-made pool scene, actually. Yeah. I forgot about that. But Tall Boy was the scariest. Or when they were in the cabin.
I was not crazy about the pool scene, personally. I was trying not to mention it.
Really? Why not?
Yeah, dude, it just like, it kind of felt stupid to me. And then it like completely backfired on them too.
I like that it backfired, but it did kind of get too close to being like, all right, like, we really need to be concrete with what the rules are for this movie then.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are these invisible forces that can move things if they want? Like, are they walking through other people?
True. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's still good enough to make my list.
Oh, hell yeah. It Follows, modern day classic. All right, I'm going to actually close my window because I think a skunk got sprayed outside and I want to stop that real quick.
Good call.
That's me, bitch! We have such sights to show you.
Hellraiser.
All right, my number 6 is Hellraiser from 1987. Have you seen this one?
Actually, no, this has not been on my radar. Is this the one with the needles sticking out of the dude's face?
Yeah, Pinhead.
Pinhead. Who you calling Pinhead?
No, I'm Dirty Dan. All right, so this is a supernatural horror slash body horror, I would say. Maybe the most bleak movie I have ever seen. Everyone knows like the Pinhead horror icon imagery. He's a Cenobite, they're called, and he's just like one of like maybe 8 or like 10 Cenobites. There's like a whole bunch of them. These like distorted like body horror demons, but they're only on screen for like 5 minutes throughout the entire movie, maybe 10 minutes. The rest of the movie is really just like this bleak house that I don't want to talk about too much because you just got to see this movie, and it's just like so depressing. Like it just leaves you feeling gross and like dirty, and I cannot recommend it enough. Not for the faint of heart, but if you're looking for like a good horror movie to ruin your day.
Ooh, so a lot of gore and like that's what you'd say?
There's a decent amount of gore, but just like I don't know, it's just like a hopeless scenario. It just like eats away at the main characters.
Oh, well, I love that. Yeah.
I have not seen any of the sequels, but I saw the recent Hulu remake, and it's actually really good. Like the Cenobites play a way bigger role because they're basically like closing in on the main characters and like slowly killing each of them.
I thought you said the Cenobites, like cinnamon bite, like from Taco Bell.
I believe it's Cenobites, like Cenobites. But yeah, there's like this cube thing that like pricks you, and then they like haunt you basically. I should have explained the cube, but yeah, the cube's a pretty big part of the movie.
Not like the movie The Cube, though, right?
Oh, that's a good one, but not good enough.
Not good enough. I think that's by Cronenberg, and I just watched The Fly, which is Cronenberg, so maybe I should.
Really? Let's see. The Cube, Vincenzo, and not Natali.
Okay.
Nice try though.
I think it's interesting that you chose Hellraiser real quick because, well, I know you love horror movies. I know you've seen a lot of them. Like you like them more than I like them, and it's probably one of my favorite genres. So like, I don't know. Like I never hear a lot of stuff about Hellraiser. I think that's interesting. You're giving it some love here. So
yeah, I mean, there's like so many of them, and most of them are rated poorly. And I think even this one has like a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes or something. But I mean, I can see why it's very polarizing because like I said, it'll ruin your day. It's not like the Get Out triumphant ending type of movie. It's like more of just a bleak and depressing movie.
Give me that box. Give me that box.
what number is that? We're on 5?
Yes, sir.
So for number 5, we're going a little off script here because this I would actually say is more of a comedy. Shaun of the Dead. That's right. We have an Edgar Wright movie in here. It sticks to the normal tropes. Like it does have the characters witness a few changes in their daily life at the beginning that ultimately throw their world into catastrophe, destroys their relationships with their family, their friends, and almost their loved ones. But ultimately, like it's hilarious. Like they use all these tropes to great effect. Like I'm dying at this movie every time I see it. I like seeing Pete in the backyard chained up as a zombie at the end. I like all the gags as they're like keep the 6 shots or whatever they have at the Winchester as all the zombies are coming through. They're like trying to be badass and set up like the Molotov cocktails to like burn the place down, but they can't do it right. And if you know anything about me, Edgar Wright's one of my favorite directors. I love the Cornetto trilogy. And I just think this movie captured like the magic of parodying movies in a bottle. Because there are parts where it is genuinely a little scary.
Yeah.
I want to say the elevator lift at the end is it's a little freaky, honestly. Or when they have Stu locked up in the bathroom.
Yeah, I've seen that one. That's definitely one of my favorite zombie movies and one of my favorite horror comedies as well.
First, it's him just going out to the supermarket and he trips on the skateboard and there's the kids playing soccer and he's crossing the road. He's like, "Oh, I'll pay you later," because he doesn't have the cash on him. And then they do the exact same thing and there's zombies everywhere and he doesn't even notice it. He just walks right by him. And also, "You Got Red on You" is like one of my favorite quotes. What's your favorite movie in the Cornetto trilogy?
I don't know if I've seen the other two.
Hot Fuzz and The World's End.
Yeah, I haven't seen the other two.
Watch it, bro.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that. Adding a movie to my watch list that isn't even on your top 10 horror movies.
And it's horror adjacent because horrific things do happen in the movie.
Okay.
So Shaun of the Dead's comedy, and that's my last comedy.
1, 2, 3.
Live or die. Make your choice.
I may still have a comedy coming up, but it's about to get really serious because at number 5 I have Saw, the original Saw from
I've never seen
2004.
Saw, dude.
Dude, you're missing out. So I will not spoil anything. Okay, so on IMDb this is listed as a splatter horror, which I loved, so I wrote it down, and then also a mystery thriller, which is definitely fitting because there is the aspect of like trying to figure out what's happening as it's happening. This spawned an entire franchise, if not genre, of movies, and there are legit over 10 Saw movies at this point, I'm pretty sure. Yet none of them have been able to touch the first one. What
I don't
this
know, Spiral is pretty great.
Goodbye. Goodbye. It was an independent movie. I'm pretty sure it was only made by a few guys for like a college film project or something like that on a very small budget of $1 million. Like I said, this is still my favorite. Has some great like kills and traps and all that, but the ending, like the twist ending, is one of the greatest twist endings in all of cinema. So I feel for you if you've had it spoiled, but still give this movie a watch. It is the best Saw movie and one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
Dude, first of all, if we're talking about twists, we're about to get into some crazy ones too, so I'm gonna try to not spoil them all. But
Okay, cool,
yeah,
cool.
like,
Yeah, it's just that good of a twist that it gets talked about outside of the movie, I guess. Saw is probably what sparked my intrigue in those type of movies, like Terrifier movies and body horror in general. And like
are you
over the top
excited for
slasher.
Terrifier 3?
I've got a ticket to see it Thursday night.
Oh, it's already out?
Well, yeah, this Thursday is like the opening night.
I thought it was a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie, but October 11th or whatever is the release date.
Well, I'll be a son of a bitch. I love a good slasher, and I think those are cool because those lean into like the VHS kind of analog. I'm a little upset because my number 4, I want it to be my number 1. Number 4, I was gonna say another movie until right now, and as I'm looking at them, I'm like, the other one is more of a horror movie. So, yeah, I'm switching them. Number 4 is gonna be Jaws by Steven Spielberg. Looking at this movie, 1975, not a lot of people think it is a horror movie. I am gonna tell you why those people are wrong. The entire movie is written as a horror. I mean, the very first scene, we see a poor young lady get thrown around, thrashed, and basically drowns. Which, by the way, she was actually like suffering and almost drowning while they were filming that scene. Dude, it's horrific. And then it turns into like a murder mystery, which turns into a shark discovery. That scene on the beach with all the kids, that is like, oh my god, that terrifies me. It kills a child more than like in the first half of the movie, Chad.
That's pretty. It takes a lot for a movie to do that.
And Spielberg killed the kid in his like second major film.
So, I respect it.
I respect it too. And what I really like about Jaws is that it blends every genre really well. Sometimes it's funny, usually it's an adventure movie, but overall, the horror elements stick. When you get to see the main characters go down into cages or face the shark jumping onto the boat, I really think like that the death scene towards the end on the orca is one of the most gruesome. I love all the blood. I love it all, especially when you consider like 1975 effects. I don't know. I like seeing it. I like seeing that guy get ripped up. It's arguably my favorite movie on this list, Chad, but I'm hesitant to say it's the best horror movie because I feel like I'm gonna catch a lot of flack if I'm like, Jaws is the best horror movie. I don't know why.
I feel you. Yeah, some of these would be in different places on my favorites of all time list as well. Like the horror filter definitely skews things a little. Did you ever ride the Jaws ride at Universal?
No, rip. I never got to.
It was very lame, but it is kind of sad that it's not there anymore.
I mean, I heard it was just a boat tour, but I'm like, yeah, but
Yeah.
Jaws.
Yeah, then you
like
just see like a little animatronic shark like swim by. That's about it.
It's just ripping up a guy in half, like
I know. Yeah, they didn't quite do that.
just drowning a girl nearby.
That would be awesome.
Jaws, you can tell, is effective because there were so many sequels and rip-offs, and they're still making shark movies to this day because of Jaws.
Facts.
47 meters down, or whatever, or The Meg, or like they still come out all the time.
Yeah, it's a subgenre of movie now.
It's the first blockbuster. I just love it. I could talk about this movie forever, but we need to move.
Barrels. Go to the end of the barrels. Further out. What? Further out. Why? Go further out. What for? Will you go to the end of the pulpit, please? What? Will you please go to the end of the pulpit? What for?
Dan.
All right, my number 4, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, that's a good one.
So this is the highest that a classic horror icon made it on my list. I think the only other one is really like the Hellraiser Pinhead. Nightmare on Elm Street officially takes the crown for classic horror icons. I love this movie because the kills are generally super creative and brutal. I think the first 2 kills, after that, the kills do fall off a little bit. Like, that's what I realized rewatching this, is that each kill gets, like, less and less interesting and exhilarating. But dude, the bedroom one, like I said, I think it's the first kill in the movie. It's when the girl gets, like, she's sleeping in her bed, and she gets, like, pulled up to the ceiling, and she's just like bleeding all over the place, and it's just like basically getting mutilated like on the ceiling of her room. And I was just like, holy shit.
Like that's pretty devastating for the 80s.
Yeah, and like I had seen Chucky, Halloween, Friday the 13th, like everything, and then I saw this and I was like, okay, here's your crown, Mr. Mr. Nightmare. What's his name? Freddy Krueger. Here's your crown, Freddy Krueger. The bathtub scene, amazing. There's a scene where like his arms like extend at his sides like 10 feet long each, and he like wiggles his arms around. He can come at you in your dreams. So like there's literally no sense of safety because you can only avoid sleep for so long, and you see the main character like try to stay awake. Love this movie. This is my favorite classic horror movie to rewatch, and I love Freddy Krueger. Shout out to Freddy Krueger.
I don't know. He reminds me of like a diva, but like if a diva was like a horror murderer.
Yeah.
And Nightmare on Elm Street freaks me out because it gets me the idea that anyone could be sleeping at any time.
Exactly.
They always fall asleep. I'm like, just stay awake. What does it take? Just drink coffee for your entire life.
Uh-huh.
I got you. I looked at my whole list and I was like, I'm a little sad. I'm not gonna have anything from the 80s on here.
Yeah, we should
But
calculate the average year of our lists and see where we're at.
I feel like my average is gonna be like 2010 or something.
For you, yeah. Mine might be like 2005. I don't know. What we should legit calculate it though.
Yeah, we'll do the math. We'll put it at the end of here for anyone who cares.
Okay.
Please make them leave.
I'm working on it.
Number 3, The Sixth Sense. You ever see this one?
I have.
Okay, good. So this one has a very big twist that the entire internet has been ruining for about 25 years now. I am not going to be one of those people that I'm not even going to talk about it.
But I will.
It is one of my What? But it is one of my favorite endings of any movie, and I think the whole film is endlessly rewatchable because of the twist. The opening scene is horrifying. It's not really paranormal or anything. It's more like a simple home invasion film, and it terrified me. When I was 12 years old, like, it really got me, like, hiding under the covers. Consider this more of a thriller. The whole thing's full of ghosts haunting a young boy, and he's terrified by everything that goes on around him. He's getting physically harmed by it, talking about guns and showing abuse. I'm like, yeah, that's a scary movie. I love the writing. I think the connection between Bruce Willis's character and, what's his name? Joel Osment?
Yeah, the boy.
He's like the best child actor of all time.
Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah, he's insane. He is so good. I think he's recently playing JD Vance in some SNL videos too.
He looks like him, bro.
He made me cry. His relationship with his mom is killer. The entire movie is a drama wrapped up in a horror movie. Like the supernatural scary parts get outweighed by the more interesting relationships and developments in the second half. And there's
Yeah.
not a lot of horror movies that are like that. So
Yeah. It tricked the world into thinking M. Night Shyamalan was a good director for 20 years.
hey, well, actually, he just directed a few good movies and then forgot how to do anything, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I think his first 3 movies are great.
Is Signs one of those?
Yeah, I actually think Signs is good.
I'm a big Signs stan, I must say.
Good.
That was one of my gateway movies to horror movies. Because my dad showed me the original Fly back in the day, and it gave me nightmares. And then I was like scared of any horror movies for a long time. But then he showed me Signs to like try to rehabilitate me and slowly ease me back in, just because it like isn't that scary.
I thought it was pretty scary.
Well,
when
dude,
was
I did too, but then I rewatched it in high school and I was like, what the heck is this? So
well,
like
that VHS though with the
so
Brazil
nice.
party.
Like the Bigfoot footage, yeah.
I legitimately putting Signs on the list, but I'm like, nah, we gotta do one. I can't talk about M. Night twice because he's not that good.
Yeah.
But the writing on Sixth Sense is pretty slick.
No,
Like
you're right. That movie is amazing.
the whole, it breaks my heart. The whole thing where it's like he's being haunted by the girl, and then when you find out her true intentions, it's a very slow and very thoughtful sequence where they go across town. Dude, just like that makes it an all-time movie for me. Like I want to watch it right now. It's only an hour and a half. It's not that long.
Wow. And I think it is like I was saying Saw is one of the greatest plot twists of all time, but I think The Sixth Sense is the greatest plot twist of all time.
Yeah, I didn't want to catch you there because I was like, but
I've
also
seen it, but I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
spoil it. Yeah.
How often do you see them?
All the time.
A girl walks home alone at night.
What?
You thought you were gonna be putting me on, bro?
We both have shared a few, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like,
So this movie, dude, I wrote down that this is from 2014, but you said 2009.
dude, maybe I'm tripping.
But
Hey Siri.
Uh-huh.
What year is A Home Alone at Night released?
A Home Alone at Night.
Oh, I think you're right. I think I don't know why I wrote 2009. It is 2014. Oh.
Okay, it was listed as a dark romance first, and then horror. Like you said, does a great job of blending those genres. I watched this for film class, and I'm just like, okay, like, what is my professor got us watching this time? Like, I had no idea. I didn't know a single thing. So that initial like pimp kill, that was triumphant girl boss moment like no other. And then it's full of tension and surprises, where I think she goes home with a guy after like being out at the club, and at this point you've seen, like, if you watch the movie and track like her morals, at first she's only killing like bad people, like pimps and addicts and stuff. She's living in this gray area where you don't know where she's gonna draw the line, and like if just like somebody doing like a slight misdemeanor is worthy of her killing them. This guy takes her home from the club. There's this scene where they like put on a record and they're like kind of dancing with each other, feeling each other up, and she like, and you don't know if she's about to kiss him or kill him. And dude, that shit goes crazy hard. The tension from that scene, I mean, it's like I said, it's called a dark romance. Like, the main guy in the movie, he gets his car back from the pimp, and he like drives off into the sunset with this like little mariachi trumpet playing in the soundtrack. That scene is one of my favorite scenes of all time in any movie. Just gives me goosebumps all the way up and down my arms. And I'll like listen to that song in the car when I'm driving every once in a while. The soundtrack goes hard, and the cinematography is so beautiful in this movie. Like the lighting and the shadows of this black and white movie. Some of the scenes literally bring a tear to my eye with just how well executed they are. I've got a ton to say about this movie. Like, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I'm glad that you appreciate it too, and that we could talk about it.
I didn't know you loved it this much. Just
I
think it's
rewatched
beautiful.
it and I was like expecting to not like it as much, and I literally liked it more.
Come on, Peter. Let's just do it.
Number 2. The most recent film on the list for me. And I'm going to be surprised if this isn't on both of our lists.
I think I know what it is.
Hereditary by
Is there-
Ari Aster. This movie, I got to give you some background. 2018. Friend came over and he was telling me we got to see this movie. Never heard of it. We watched the trailer. The trailer leads you to think that Charlie is going to be the main focus of the film.
Let's leave Charlie out of it.
We're gonna leave her out of it, but basically the trailer was extremely misleading.
Yeah.
And I
In the
was
best way
not.
possible.
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna be good. And you know what? That movie was. I cannot explain the experience of the movie theater. Multiple people were saying, "What the f?" and multiple people walked out like at different points of the movie. Like there were different points where they said, "This is too much for me. This is beyond the normal horror movie. I'm walking out now." And to me and my buddy were just transfixed. Like, it works really well with the tropes of seances, works really well with the tropes of hauntings. But the movie does its best job in the family drama, in the tension that exists within the family and their dynamics. What can I say that's not gonna just like, frankly, give away huge elements of this movie? So the naked people were a crazy choice.
I love the naked people. And dude, I didn't even notice them the first time. At least like when they're around the house. Second time I watched the movie, there were more naked people than the first time.
Every time you watch the movie, he adds more naked people.
Exactly.
The point where they're expelling the demon from the schoolyard, and then it basically has him freaking out in the classroom, putting his hand up and smashing his face. Dude, like, what the hell? These scenes are scary in daylight, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought she was dead.
Mm-hmm.
There's more I want to say about Hereditary, but I just feel like you're probably going to mention it, so I say we move on.
All right, ready for my number 2?
Yep.
Hereditary.
What?
Bullet points I had. First one is about the acting in this movie. Toni Collette's performance and Alex Wolff's performance in this movie are two of my favorites out of any movie. Not even the
Charlie?
little girl. Yeah, she is just so creepy. She sold the whole trailer. Like, people...
I didn't even think it was a good trailer, but apparently...
I agree, but people saw her in the trailer and went to see this movie. My friends and I had very low expectations based on the trailer, and this movie just like blew our minds. Rewatching it, every single scene just fills me with anticipation and anxiety and weirdly also joy, because it's building to one of the sickest, most thrilling ending sequences of any movie. But just like the biggest
terror.
Yeah, and I mean, dude, like the mom piano wire and like crawling around the walls and banging her head on the attic door.
The entire family, once they did the seance, I think they were just...
True. But the dinner scene is the scene that I want to point out the most. When...
Yeah, and it's not even a scary scene, and it's the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, and she's... I mean, well, they are yelling kind of like their suppressed feelings about the whole situation. The one line is like, "Stop looking at me with that f***ing face on your face," or something like that. Like, dude, it just goes insane.
Might be something you want to say.
Yeah. Like what? I mean, why would I want to say something so I could watch you sneer at me?
But yeah, I had never heard of Toni Collette before that movie. Don't think I'd ever seen her in another movie, but she immediately jumped the list of my favorite actors of all time.
Sixth Sense, baby!
When I was looking that up to see Haley Joel Osment, I saw that she was in that too. She does have a great resume though.
Knives Out, right? I think she was in the first one.
First one, maybe.
It's unreal how hard she went for that film. The pressure that her family puts on her kind of expand upon in her miniatures. Like how she's working on them. The littlest things are going to set her off, and then you just watch her lose it and destroy it all. And you have these crazy moments throughout the whole movie, like her crawling on the walls or like the souls flying out the window. This movie is not going to be a horror classic. It's already a horror classic.
Yeah. Ari Aster's a god. Midsummer and Beau is Afraid almost made my list.
But we don't talk about the Johnsons.
Hey, we can talk about that.
The last thing I want to say about Hereditary is actually two more things. Number one, people still use that soundtrack for memes, so you know it's legendary.
Oh yeah. Dude, I've scared friends in the
people.
shower with that before. Like my Bluetooth speaker was in the shower and I was in the other room.
You can't do that. That's unfair.
I just blasted the violin.
Horrifying.
That goes crazy.
At the end of the movie, the surround sound takes off. So when I was in the theater, the lights started dimming, and when they started chanting, me and my friend looked at each other because we thought people were in the theater like chanting, and we were like, "Are we about to fight?" And we ended up making a short film kind of based off that idea called Cult Classic. So, yeah,
an awesome movie. One of my favorites to show my friends because I just love shocking them.
Oh, hey. It's all right. Charlie.
Closer, please. Closer.
Number one. I asked two people, is this a horror movie? And they gave me two different answers. I say it's a horror movie because
I have no idea what this is gonna be.
It's The Silence of the Lambs.
Ah, okay.
I remember watching this on like DVD or whatever when I was like 16. The character Hannibal Lecter really sells the movie. You're expecting to be very scared, but the person that you experience the film with is Jodie Foster's Clarice Starling, who is honestly one of the best heroes in cinema. You get to see like the horrors of not only like serial killers, but also kind of the horrors of just being a woman, being objectified. At the same time, it gets cut with like very horrific body horror, very horrific like torture scenes, or like, you know, I don't know, everything with Buffalo Bill is just messed up. But this movie really does the cat and mouse pretty perfectly. Hannibal Lecter is one of the best characters in film history, and I want to say he has like 12 minutes in this movie.
Yeah.
Like he's barely in this movie. He's not even the main villain of this movie, but he does set up one of my favorite endings. It is some of the best writing you're ever going to see. The editing is perfect. It switches between like generations in a snap of an eye seamlessly. It's probably one of like the most revered movies ever. So
yeah, I think you make a good point. When I saw it, I was expecting Hannibal Lecter to play a way bigger role. And I was like, whoa, he's like barely in this movie. But his escape is still my favorite scene in the whole movie. Like when
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, when he makes it out with that is so sick.
And that's his scariest attribute, is he just used people, whether that was like as a way to get out of jail or to get information or food. Like, you don't know what he's going to use you for, but they're like, don't let him get inside your head. And they're right, he is terrifying. He doesn't blink.
Like, one thing that you didn't mention is that it's like an extremely realistic movie because it is like a serial killer movie. There's nothing supernatural or extraneous about it. Like, it could very realistically happen, and he could be a real person.
I'm done. I don't have anything to say about it. I just love it. And also, Donald Trump talks about it too much, actually. He needs to stop talking about Hannibal.
And he has no idea what he's talking about, too.
I don't think he knows what asylums are.
Yes,
I think that's my theory.
Yeah, refugees are seeking asylum, but he thinks that means that refugees are in insane asylums, just like Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs. It's embarrassing. He's more of a Joe Biden than he realizes.
Just one more thing. Love your suit.
You ready for my number one?
Can I have a guess at what it is?
You can have 15 guesses and you wouldn't guess it. I'm pretty sure.
Slaughterhouse?
Hell no. I didn't go that deep.
It was just a joke.
Okay. My number one is Cabin in the Woods.
I have seen this movie, and it's a great movie.
This made it into my number one slot because I think if I listed like my top movies of all time, this would be highest out of all the other horror movies on this list. To me, that like gives it the number one spot. Hereditary is a very close second, and honestly, depending on the day, it could go either way.
Yeah,
Anyway,
my top 5 could all switch at any day.
yeah. So it was listed as conspiracy thriller / monster horror / psychological horror.
/
And
awesome comedy.
yeah, which I think is crazy that comedy didn't even crack the top 3 on IMDb.
Hilarious.
Definitely a comedy. Like one of my favorite comedies of all time. Conspiracy aspect of like the lab situation. The movie opens in the lab with the 2 scientists just like talking in the hallway, and then they like hop on a golf cart and like ride
It's
down.
so nonchalant too. You're
Yes,
like, what?
so nonchalant. But they show you everything in the lab, like in that opening scene. And then it just cuts to like a college comedy for like 5 minutes. And then you're in The Evil Dead the next 30 minutes, you know? It's just like one of the funniest movies of all time. It's extremely inventive and clever. And in the context of the movie, it basically justifies the existence of every horror movie ever made. The way that they like pump out like the stupid gas to make the blonde girl do stupid shit, validating the movies for what they are and like kind of giving a reason for the silliness. One of the most genius movies ever made. And it just keeps leveling up and takes you on this wild ride all the way to like literally the last second of the movie, which just blows your fucking mind.
The movie has a very ambitious and awesome ending.
Yeah.
I think they do a great choice there.
Yeah. The first time I saw it, it blew my mind. And every time I've seen it since, I'm like, yep, like, let's go. We're going there.
I don't know if it was heavily marketed this way, but I was led to believe Chris Hemsworth was going to be a very big part.
Yeah.
So he was a big part, but like he left at the perfect time.
Maybe the funniest death of all time. And if you were keen and like remember the bird flying into the field before, oh my god, just everything about this movie. And dude, don't even get me started on the stoner character. He's like
That's where I wanted to start.
The one guy who knows what's going on the entire time, but like nobody believes him.
Does the prep team miss one of the kids' stashes? Whatever he's been smoking's been immunizing him to all our shit.
He walks out of the car. This huge cloud of smoke comes out of the car. He has the like collapsible coffee cup bong that he just like collapses down into the cup. One of my favorite movie characters of all time, right there.
I think that movie for you is what Tucker and Dale versus Evil is for me.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely need to check that out.
It's another one, subverts horror tropes, and it's very funny comedy. You'll love that one.
The world of their ignorance and sin. Bathe them in the crimson of... Am I on speakerphone?
Can you go over your list one more time?
Barbarian, It Follows, Carrie, Don't Breathe, Hellraiser, Saw, Nightmare on Elm Street, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, Cabin in the Woods, and Hereditary. Or Hereditary, Cabin in the Woods.
Get Out, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, Let the Right One In, Alien, It Follows, Shaun of the Dead, Jaws, The Sixth Sense, Hereditary, and Silence of the Lambs.
Okay, so I've seen all those except Let the Right One In.
Well, I mean, I think you have a pretty great list. Do you think The Substance is ever going to crack it?
It's hard to say. I'm
Anyway,
still
it's my
saving
favorite
more
movie.
until our top movies video.
Are we going to do a Demi Moore top movies?
No, just like top of the year, because that's going to be in my top of the year.
Well, I guess that puts a bow on our conversation because it's time to head to Christmas now. We're going to do our top 90 Christmas movies.
Hey, let's do it.
I guess we could do Christmas, but I'd rather
top
do 10.
80. Let's do top 80.
Top 80.
Dude, why do I think we made the same joke after the last video we did?
We talked about Christmas because of holdovers.
Yeah, dude, I think we literally made the same joke about top 90 Christmas movies or something like that.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. That would be fun too.
Yeah, top 5 or top 10 maybe.
Well, we're gonna we have a bunch more extra films down here. Please check them out if you get a chance because they're also really cool.
Hey, dude, horror's the best genre.
You think so?
It's my favorite.
Horror's up there for sure. Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. We will not financially compensate you for your time here, but maybe check out some of these other videos. What do you want to say, Chad? Anything else?
Go watch some of the movies that we talked about, and go watch some of the videos that we talked about.
And if you don't, Freddy Krueger will be in your bathtub tonight. See you later, guys.